All right. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Vega here for SerpentX Tech. Welcome back to another episode of Caffeine and Crypto, a weekly live stream that I do every Saturday around 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I welcome you to join me with your favorite beverage of coffee, right? Caffeine, whatever it might be. Energy drink, coffee, tea. If you don't like some caffeine, go ahead and grab some water as we go over the crypto news for this past week of March. First week of March, honestly, not off to a good start. As you can see, everything's in the red. Bitcoin around 86.5, XRP $2.35, Ethereum really stumbling. Might fall below the 2K region. Solana might fall. If I move out of your way, right now Solana's at a 137. Solana could fall below $100. Dogecoin at 19 cents. SU down to $2.52. It's just madness all around. But I do see some light, or I do believe in the light at the end of the tunnel. I can't see the light, but I believe it. It's there. I just got to keep going. And it sucks, because it's really hard to keep going right now. But if we persevere, things might shake out. What's funny, too, is you see this gray icon right here for Pi? My sister got into this a while back, and I remember talking about it and kind of making fun of it. And lo and behold, she got into it. You know, and obviously there's some KYC people got to do and stuff like that. But I believe some people made some pretty good money off of that. And if they got in around the same time my sister did, we're looking pretty good. Available on certain markets, but sitting at $1.79. Definitely flatline recently. But one of those weird altcoins that's primarily used or mined on mobile, which is like basically pyramid mining, is what I call it. The more referrals you get, the more you earn. I never shared my link out because I didn't think the thing was going to do any good, but it stayed alive throughout the bear and bull markets, and here it is. So anyways, Bitcoin printed a signal that I haven't seen since July 2024. But the way the current conditions are going, it could just right on back. So everything I've been expecting the crypto markets to do, especially Bitcoin, it has not done. I expected February to be a green February because historically all Februaries, or majority of them, at least over 70%, have been green. March, I expect March to be green, but here we are. Now, we still have an opportunity here to where March could be green, but yeah, man. It's a lot of buy the rumor, sell the news, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of fear, right? With what's going on in the current economic, political, global situation. But I believe people will flock back to Bitcoin because we just keep on having more positive news. And that positive news is, right, we got the first summit, just didn't turn out the way people wanted. We got the strategic reserve, right? March 6th, here's the actual letter from the White House, establishment of a strategic Bitcoin reserve, United States digital asset stockpile. So we've been getting positive news, as I talked about in last week's episode. We're just not seeing the price action. But going back to that marker that I printed, or that printed last July, I think we're getting towards the end of this. And either we're going to have more of an uptrend and get above this orange line you're seeing here going downward, or we're going to fall right through and we're looking at 71, almost 72K Bitcoin. We talked about how that's not out of the realm of impossible, especially at the prices of last week and the prices of this week. Again, measuring a fall from where we are now to that area is only a 17% dip. We've seen Bitcoin 15% is nothing, 30% can be scary, depending on which side you are, longs or shorts. But yeah, things are very volatile. And honestly, at least it's not boring, right? It's not boring. We were complaining about it being too boring, right? We were just moving sideways. Come on, Bitcoin, do something. We're just moving sideways, right? Ranging between 100 and something thousand, let's say 102,000 to 92 or 94K, right? For the longest time, and we were getting bored. But now, you know, that was a month, and then we continued on, and we were still ranging before this recent dip. So 2 months, and we can even go further back here, right? Because this was in the middle. So even though it's not the price we want, 95 days of the same shit, different day was getting kind of boring. So it's good to see that there's some volatility and there's some opportunity. I know a lot of people don't like it, but there is some opportunity here to make money on both ends, on the shorts and on the longs, depending on your risk tolerance and obviously your conditions in order for you to participate in trading and stuff like that. Plenty of good videos on the channel if you haven't checked it out on ways I trade or participate in trading. I'm not an expert trader. I'm not a financial advisor, but I do dabble. And I just picked up and learned over the years since 2014, not only mining, but just crypto and blockchain and technology itself over time. Anyways, good morning to Crypto Bedell, Dan, Case Rocker, Jay Bohannon, Crypto Pounder 4, JFA, Golden Wolf, Son of Rabbit, and Geek of All Trades. Look forward to seeing some of y'all at Mind Disrupt. If you don't have your tickets, by the way, for Mind Disrupt 2025, they will be down in the description. And if you don't have your tickets for Bitcoin conference in May at the Venetian in Las Vegas, that is also down in the description. I straight up was told that if nobody uses my link to buy tickets for Bitcoin conference, that I'm not going to get a pass. So I probably won't be going to Bitcoin conference because I can't afford that kind of stuff. Just not right now. I'll try to do better next year, but we'll see. But either way, if you need tickets, you could save. Make sure you try to use coupon code SerpentX on checkout if it doesn't automatically apply with the link. Moving on to news. U.S. Bitcoin Reserve prompts $370 million in ETF outflows. That was on March 7th, and investors reacted to Donald Trump's plan for a U.S. strategic reserve, right? So, hey, we're going to have a U.S. strategic reserve. Everybody leaves. It's like somebody makes an announcement at a party and then everybody fucking leaves. Like, what the hell? Whatever. The outflows indicate institutional investors are wary of Bitcoin exposure after Trump's March 6 executive order, which created a national Bitcoin reserve, but didn't instruct the government to buy, right? Disappointing traders. While the president's executive order acknowledges crypto's role in global finance, the lack of fresh purchases disappoints markets, says Alvin Collin, chief operator of BitGet Wallet. We got a post here from Ryan that says the end game was never the U.S. government buys all of the world's Bitcoin. A U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve means other countries will buy Bitcoin. Wealth managers have no excuse. Wealth institutions have no excuse. Pension endowments have no excuse. Fear of the U.S. selling is gone. The U.S. will likely buy more. The likelihood of states buying just went up. And probability of government outlaws Bitcoin is definitely zero. So a lot of positive indicators, even though they didn't straight up just start buying Bitcoin. Now, obviously, there's going to be some plans in place. Cynthia Loomis and a bipartisan support group is going to be working to, kind of, hey, this is how much we're going to buy ever so often. This is what we're going to do with it. This is how we're going to store it. Stuff like that. Don't forget, Bybit, the largest hack, at least in our time, the Bybit hack, was a multi-sig wallet, right? The person and the people who agreed to that transaction were signing on a multi-sig. They just didn't understand or pay attention or research or look into a little bit deeper what the transaction was attempting to do before they signed it. They thought it was legit. They all got it. You might need 3 out of 5 to sign. You might need 4 out of 10 to sign. You might need 6 out of 20. I don't know. You could set up multi-sigs with various platforms, and they're pretty cool, right? But what if the government, who's not, and the personnel involved, I hope would bring somebody more knowledgeable, more educated, more experience in blockchain and crypto security and storage to help them out with that. Because I definitely don't want a senator signing or approving a multi-sig, or 3 or 4 senators signing or approving a transaction they don't understand, and leading to Bitcoin being moved in some erroneous way. But either way, good news, right? So we already saw the states, we saw the map in multiple caffeine and crypto shows in the past. How many states are working on a strategic reserve on their own? We were making more traction with the states than we were with the federal government. Now that the federal government has moved forward, this could just get more states involved. This is just sending out the bat signal to other countries. Hey, Bitcoin is legit. Get involved. Start participating. You might be able to help out your economy, whatever it is, hyperinflation. And so all these positive indicators, just no price action. On March 6th, Trump signed an executive order creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve separately and digital asset stockpile to hold other cryptocurrencies. That's good, right? That's what we want. And thank you, everybody, coming over for Crypto Mikkel's stream. Thank you for the raid. They will both initially comprise assets acquired by law enforcement and other legal proceedings. The order asks officials to develop budget-neutral strategies for acquiring additional Bitcoin. Budget-neutral strategy. That's what I'm talking about. The bipartisan group, Cynthia Lummis and others, need to figure out, hey, how are we going to do this? It's there, but they got to, put the processes, the policies, the security implementation, all that in place. Provided that the strategies impose no incremental cost to the American taxpayers, right? And Cynthia Lummis and a number of others propose, hey, we don't have to use taxpayer dollars in order to buy Bitcoin. So that shouldn't be a argument. That shouldn't be a pain point. That shouldn't be a talking point for anybody against Bitcoin or against crypto or against the strategic reserve, is that, hey, you're not going to use my tax dollars to buy your meme coin. No. First of all, they're not going to buy shit coins. They might have some altcoins in there. I want to call them shit coins. But they're going to be buying established, legitimate cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, which can't be controlled by a single entity, a single organization, a single government, a single church, a single whatever. It can't. So it's good not to use taxpayer dollars, being able to use, and I know the gold people would be mad because they were talking about converting some of that gold and buying Bitcoin. And I know a lot of people in the gold industry that are anti-Bitcoin who would be against that. But there's a lot of people in the gold industry that see buying Bitcoin along with the government holding gold and other assets is just a diverse portfolio to help improve the overall, platform or whatever they got going. So, I mean, that's good news overall. Not using our tax-paying dollars to buy Bitcoin, but still have a way to accumulate. The limited scope fell short of market expectations and resulted in considerable disappointment. All right, everybody was sad because it's like, okay, cool, the order's done. Order opens the possibility of acquiring additional Bitcoin as well, as long as the acquisitions don't cost taxpayer dollars. We already talked about that. That could introduce a new buyer to the Bitcoin ecosystem. Bitcoin spot price dropped 2% on March 7th, according to the data. Meanwhile, data for CME, blah, 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 shows decline more than 2% across most of Bitcoin's forward curve, which comprises futures contracts expiring at staggered dates. Futures are standardized contracts. We know what they are. Even without the U.S. government actively buying up Bitcoin, the U.S. strategic reserves mean that other countries will buy, and financial institutions have no excuse, right? Because remember, we talked about banks being told, yo, don't get involved in this crap. Y'all shouldn't be holding this on your balance sheet. No, bad. And obviously some banks at least wanted to get involved. 1 second, please. But yeah, a sell-off, a simply buy the rumor, sell the news event. Hence where we are. All right, the beginning of this week, Sunday, we had a nice green day. We actually got back up to almost 95K. Monday came, took that, just erased all those gains, right? Erased all those gains from Sunday to Monday, which was a 10% up and down. And then obviously Tuesday, Wednesday, we had a nice green day trying to reclaw some of those losses. And then Thursday, Friday, and even today, erasing stuff. So A lot of swing trades you could be doing, right? The range here in this one candle is anywhere between, it's 8%, but it's anywhere between 88K and 81K. So you could be trading anywhere between 82 and 92 right now, right? Shorts and longs, and just accumulating more Bitcoin, accumulating more of the asset. So it's not, it's, even though it's volatile, even though it's not where we want it to be, even though, you know, there's a lot of good news going around, but the prices just aren't appreciating. There's a lot of opportunity, in my personal non-financial expert opinion, to trade in this range until we do have that leg up. But anyways, the first ever White House crypto summit leaves some investors unhappy. The first summit was to discuss Trump's administration's commitment to rolling back aggressive regulatory posture that the previous administration took toward the industry. However, some in the crypto world were left disappointed that Trump administration did not signal more active support for the industry, leading to prices of the very assets the summit was supposed to acclaim to sag Friday. The price of Bitcoin is down 3% in late afternoon after trading, and was set to finish this week down approximately 7% at 87K, 86K. The groundwork for the lackluster reaction was laid late Thursday when Trump's crypto czar, venture capitalist David Sachs, announced the president had signed an order to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. 1 second. While the measure has been aggressively pushed by the crypto community, the order indicated the reserve would only comprise current Bitcoin holdings previously seized by the federal government. A separate digital asset stockpile will also be created to hold non-Bitcoin digital tokens like Ethereum and Ripple, and that they have also seized from enforcement action. However, the executive order gave no explicit guarantee or timetable for the government to begin making new crypto purchases overnight. If such purchases were to occur, it said that it would be undertaken in a budget-neutral way at no additional cost to taxpayers. To be sure, the very existence of the White House Crypto Summit, let alone a strategic reserve, represents a sea of change for the industry that has long fought to gain mainstream acceptance. And despite the recent declines, the price of Bitcoin remains about 25% higher than the level before Trump secured a second presidential term in early November. Yeah, we're still up. We're still technically in a bull market. Just know, once we have that pen to paper of this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna be buying, 100 Bitcoin every day for the next 10 years. Once they get some final numbers, how they're going to do it, how they're going to provide funding to buy that Bitcoin, then the crypto market would definitely, have a little bit of fire to go ahead and move forward. But Trump is now officially off the hook for what the Bitcoin community did for him, and that's disappointing. I'm sorry to say that's disappointing, because there's still a lot to be done. There's still a lot to be done. I hope the right people in the right places. And remember, I always preached about yourself. You're the one that's watching this, wherever you are, to be involved, whether it's your local, your state, your country, in the political, regulatory, blockchain, crypto technology space. Try to be involved in that conversation as best as you can, right? So that way you can have some level of, steering the ship. You might not have your hand on the wheel, but, you got some level of way of impacting change, affecting change. If you don't speak, you don't do anything, then nobody's going to hear you, and nobody's going to be like, hey, you know what? Maybe that person is right. But anyways, it's all positive. It's just we don't have anything beyond just positive news. It's been positive news for weeks now. Ever since November, it has been positive news. It's just we're not seeing any action from that news. We need action. We want action. Crypto leaders meet in Trump summit with the strategic reserve in focus. I believe this is the summit right here. Yep. Let's go ahead and play this. It's only 48 seconds long. I'm going to go ahead and play this real quick. We'll listen in together, and then we'll continue moving on to the rest of the news. 1 second.
Last year, I promised to make America the Bitcoin superpower of the world and the crypto capital of the planet, and we're taking historic action to deliver on that promise, as you know, around the table. I also want to express my strong support for the efforts of lawmakers in Congress as they work on bills to provide regulatory certainty for dollar-backed stablecoins and the digital assets market. They're working very hard on that. And as you know, China is pushing forward and very strongly as usual, but we're way in the lead as we are in AI and other things, and we want to stay there. So I thought this was very important, and we have some brilliant people sitting around this table, and it's an honor to have you involved, but we want to stay at the forefront of everything.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. If U.S. wants to continue to lead, not only in this arena, but technology and AI, crypto and blockchain technology is going to be a major part of that. So we'll see how things pan out. I want to know who was at that table. You know what I mean? Like, there's a picture, but I can't really just see. Okay, there's some faces I see there. There's Michael Saylor. There's Coinbase. Brian Armstrong. Is Garlinghouse there? Yeah, Garlinghouse is there. Hopefully he doesn't try to hijack the shit and make it all about him. Was Charles Hoskinson there? Oh, I see the, if I move out of the way here, the Winklevoss twins right here. So I'm sure there's a list somewhere out there, but who Trump or the administration keep around them during these this establishment of crypto legislation, rules, regulation is very important. We need to pay attention to that. Don't just sit idly by and be like, oh, they got it. Like we want to pay attention to who they are utilizing around them to make this stuff. Totally impressed or depressed? Are you being sarcastic? Was that satire? Anyways, here's the official. I'm gonna drop it in the description. We got the fact sheet, right? About the digital asset reserve and the strategic Bitcoin reserve, and then we have the official announcement. Section 1, policy, creation and administration, so on and so forth. I already summarized it for you, but if you want to read it, I'm going to find a spot. It's under the news articles covered, right below the description. Go ahead and check it out after the stream if you don't mind. If you do wind up leaving the stream, can you do me a favor and hit that like button? Because it greatly helps out the channel and gets this video out in front of eyes. And I definitely could use your assistance in sharing out this content, sharing out this video. Yeah, all right, cool. You were being sarcastic. All right, anyways, a non-crypto person guide to Bitcoin strategic reserve. Proponents of the move say that the reserve would act as a hedge against the financial instability in the hypothetical future in which cryptocurrencies replace regular money issued by central banks, right? So he did mention stable coins, right? Stable currencies backed by US dollar, right? They want to back stable coins that are backed by the US dollar, not backed by the yen, not backed by the franc, not backed by the euro, but backed by the US dollar, because he still believes in the US dollar. It is mighty, and he wants to make sure that that US dollar is what the world continues to use everywhere. So I could see why certain stable coins would make sense. They argue that Bitcoin investment could help pay down the national debt. Many people have said that. Of course, the minute the United States sold its holdings, it will cause a price to fall, and unlike petroleum, we can't use Bitcoin to power the U.S. economy. The argument for the reserve is basically that there are a very small chance that the Federal Reserve could completely mismanage the dollar. It's a small chance, Jason Howitt says, or Janowitz says. But in that case, things like gold and Bitcoin do become hedges against the dollar's debasement and inflation, which, again, money printer go burr, this is a way to hedge against that. Critics question the wisdom of tying America's financial future to a purely speculative, highly volatile asset. They argue that the reserve is little more than a scheme of an enhanced value of Bitcoin, thereby juicing the portfolios of early investors, such as roughly 30 crypto CEOs who descended onto the White House. So there were 30 CEOs for the meeting with the president. Do we know who those people were? Hang on, is this the list? Do you have the lists? I want the lists. No, you didn't give me the lists. All right. I'm sure I could find it somewhere. But listen, going back to tying America's financial future to a purely speculative and highly volatile asset, let's backtrack here. The gains Bitcoin has made, right, over the years, and the upswings and the downswings. Yes, while Bitcoin, there could be a 15 and 30% uptrend, downtrend, whatever. The gains have lessened, right? The jump from $100 Bitcoin to $1,000 Bitcoin is like, those jumps aren't going to be as significant as we move forward in the future, or it's not going to be, those jumps aren't going to be as big as we move forward into the future. If we start having states and countries, not only just the US, but other countries, buying, holding Bitcoin as a strategic reserve against, whatever their currency is or something like that, what you're going to see here is the jumps, the volatile highs and lows, or the gaps from bottom to top or top to bottom will be reduced. So it won't be as volatile as we move forward if the world continues to buy Bitcoin. There's a finite supply. There's a fixed supply. If demand stays hungry and continues to grow, but the supply stays the same, unlike other cryptocurrencies, price go up. Plain and simple, right? RTX 5080, 5090, not enough supply. Bought them all out at the very beginning at whatever the MSRP, if MSRP was a real thing. Resold at 2x, 3x on eBay or secondary markets. Supply and demand. But I could understand why grandma, grandpa, uncle, auntie, whatever would have concerns about we shouldn't tie the American financial ecosystem to a speculative asset. So what they add to the digital stockpile, not the Bitcoin reserve. I have faith in the Bitcoin reserve, but the digital stockpile could be the deciding factor. And the fact that they got XRP and Ethereum in there, yay, cool. But what else is in there? What else were you planning? What other assets? Some stable coins like USDT, USDC, cool. But we got to be careful how we proceed. We don't want to just take all the top 50 tokens, throw it in a bag, and call it a day. We want to be strategic in what we choose and be careful as we move forward, right? Plenty of bad actors out there. Plenty of crypto products that want to take advantage. They may look like the hottest thing right now, but then next thing you know, they pull the rug and they're gone. So I don't think we'll get involved in anything like that. But I understand the criticism of the strategic reserve. But I also believe that the reserve, at least in Bitcoin, is the way to go. The other digital assets might be a little bit more concerning. Anyways, how would it work? Blah, blah, blah. Bitcoin seized by law. We already got all that Bitcoin. 17 billion worth of Bitcoin left over from various legal cases over the years. Typically, the Treasury sells those holdings to compensate victims and bolster law enforcement. Officials have sought to emphasize that no taxpayer dollars will be used, right? We talked about selling the gold, blah, blah, blah. Try to keep it budget neutral. We are only allowed to buy more if it doesn't add to the deficit or debt or cost taxpayers. That's the goal. That's what they got to figure out. That's what they got a game plan for. And then obviously, if they do it right, I think we could see a Q3 2025 rally, significant rally. I do believe right now we are in Q2, right? January, February, March. No, we're in Q1, about to go into Q2. I think end of Q2, Q3, we might have a nice something to make you happy. Can't guarantee it because Bitcoin has been telling me the chart in the history is telling me one thing, but Bitcoin's been doing another. So one thing I learned over these many years is Bitcoin will do what it wants. Price watch, key support, resistance levels. We'll see what the key support and resistance levels are. That was the main thing that I put here. While a breakdown below 80K could open a door for additional downside. Yep, the moving averages reinforce bearish sentiment in short term. Blah, blah, blah. Expansion of moving average, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, just get to the point, please. 4-hour chart. Yeah, Bitcoin support found near 81K, right? So 81, 82 is the line. We talked about it last week, but if we just blow right through that line, right? Like we can't, we're Spartans 300, but there's just too many coming, and we can't hold that line, even though we take out a large majority of them. We could fall down to what I talked about at the beginning of the show if you're just showing up, which is that 72K area, right? 71.6, 72K area. However, if you look at this orange section right here, I do believe we're kind of caught in a pattern to where either we can break down or we can go up. And this pattern ends, let's say, next week, at the end of next week, or the end of, the end of the second week from now. So 2 weeks from now, March 17th to 21st, I think we might have either an explosion up, maybe not an explosion, but a nice uptick or a downturn. And I know we don't want any more downturns, but we just keep on having them, so we're just going to have to deal with it. We got some key support and resistance. Yep, 96K is resistance now. 78K is also support. 81K could extend downward trend. Yep, if we fall below that. Same thing we just talked about. Bitcoin's failure to reclaim 90K combined with the predominance of bearish moving averages suggests continued downside risk. A lot of people are calling for more downside in Bitcoin. I believe you guys as well in the live chat did in last week's episode. If support at 84 and 81 fails to hold, right? So that 82 again, 81 is the line. We need to hold that. A drop toward the 78K or lower becomes increasingly likely. So I will say that once again, my mom hit me up. I love it when she does that. When she saw that Bitcoin this week was around 82, 83K, she bought $10, right? Dollar cost average. You don't have to sell the farm. You don't have to bet the farm. But she definitely, saw that the price was down using her Cash App, which makes it easy for the average person to get involved. And she bought some more Bitcoin. So if you got the money, you have the funds, and you're capable of doing it, grab some more crypto during this turbulent time or downtrend in preparation for the future. But if you don't have the money, don't buy it. All right, hodl what you got. If you have to sell what you got, unfortunately, to pay bills, like I said every single time, do what you got to do. All right. White House crypto czar says public has lost out on over 17 billion in Bitcoin value. What he's talking about, though, is all this time that the administration was being hostile, they already had crypto. They already had Bitcoin from the past seizures or forfeitures. They could have used that to assist the economy, to pay down the national debt, whatever it might be. So they state here, over the past decade or so, the federal government has come into the possession of roughly 400,000 Bitcoin through civil or criminal asset forfeitures. Sachs said in an interview, blah, blah, blah. We've had this very ad hoc strategy where we just would sell the Bitcoin sort of almost willy-nilly. So we're talking about not what we have now, but what we accumulated in the past as well, where we would just sell the crap willy-nilly instead of hanging on to it, which could have led to greater returns. But at the same time, like if everybody just sits here and hodls Bitcoin and nobody sells, nobody goes to the centralized exchange, nobody uses the dApps or DeFi, everybody just got their Bitcoin, they're just, if we all do this, if we all diamond hand, no price action. Like somebody's got to move. Somebody's got to do something. So I could see why the government at the time, thinking Bitcoin wouldn't be a $100,000 asset. It was only a couple $100 or whatever it might be at that time, $1,000, $1,200. They sold some to cover court costs or to cover whatever enforcement action they needed. But anyways, we only made about $4 million 400 million, right? And in those sales. Today, that Bitcoin would have been worth over 17 billion. So 4 million, 17 billion, yeah, probably could have hung on to some of that. Because that could have been a pretty penny to help out with a number of different issues. So he's just saying that the taxpayers, the American taxpayers, missed out on $17 billion because the government sold Bitcoin in the past that if they would have hung on to would have been $17 billion. You see what I'm saying? So it's catch-22. We'll see how things go. What is this guy? Let's listen to this video real quick before we move on. Couple last articles. We might watch this video towards the very end. But we got, I want to talk about, of course, the 5070 and the 9070 XT and the 9070. So stay tuned for that. They'll be at the very end before we go head over to Red Panda Mining. So bear with me. But let's watch this video and then take a look at XRP, ADA, and SOL market conditions and what my price expectations are for these two.
Well, it's helpful because it creates a long-term strategy to maximize the value of digital assets that are already on the federal government's balance sheet. Just to be clear, we're not buying any Bitcoin that we didn't already own. Over the past decade or so, the federal government has come into the possession of roughly 400,000 Bitcoin through civil or criminal asset forfeitures. And we need a strategy to deal with that. Over the past decade, we've had this very ad hoc strategy where we just would sell the Bitcoin sort of almost willy-nilly. And we sold about half of it. We only made about $400 million. Today, that Bitcoin would have been worth over $17 billion. So the American taxpayer lost out on over $17 billion of value because we never had a long-term strategy. So the truth of the matter is we should have had a strategic Bitcoin reserve much sooner. If we had done it a decade ago, we would have made a lot of money for the American people. The question now is what do we do with the remaining Bitcoin on our federal balance sheet? We think it's around 200,000 Bitcoin. I say that we think because the truth is no one has conducted a proper audit to date. So one of the things that President Trump's executive order does is direct an audit across the government so we can get a true and accurate accounting of how much of this asset we actually have. But with regard to whatever is there, we want to store it for the long term. We believe that it has value. It's the most widely accepted digital asset in the world. It's often compared to digital gold, and you can think of the reserve as creating.
Honestly, I believe that the crypto community has done the audit for the government. Now, they probably want to do an official audit with their own government, employees and personnel, CPAs, accountants, whatever it is. But yeah, like the crypto community has been tracking the amount of Bitcoin the U.S. government has, and it is over 400,000 Bitcoin. So I'm sure, and I hope, obviously, David Sachs, if you ever watch this video, that you include some of the experts in the what's called chain analysis, right, or chain analytics, right, where they can use you can use the Block Explorer to track and negotiate and see where funds were moved from, taken from, whatever it might be. Bitcoin is transparent, easily visible. You can figure that out. I'm sure your accounts could probably figure that out. If they don't, please make sure you surround yourself with some great people to help you out with that, Mr. Sachs. All right, moving on. XRP ADA still fall harder than Bitcoin as White House Crypto Summit fails to wow traders. Again, same thing that we talked about. There's Mr. Sachs. As we talked about, looks like Howard Lieback. I can't see that name. Kelly Lafer. Anyways, so, the news came out. Multiple assets fall. It's unfortunate. What I'm seeing price action wise, if we go look at a couple of different assets, Ethereum is just really, really in the dumps. I believe we could fall below 2K, right? And from where we at to fall below 2K is only a 10% dip, right? So a big situation, a big sell-off event definitely could hurt us. But if you look here at the bottom, we should be on an uptrend. Right, we should be climbing. Ethereum should be in a bullish trajectory, but it should have been for a while, and it continues to not. It continues to disappoint. So yeah, I think Ethereum could fall below 2K. If you're interested, again, a lot of people that watch my channel, miners, got out of Ethereum when they left proof of work. But anybody who is or is a participant in Ethereum, holding on to Ethereum, likes to trade in Ethereum, you're probably going to look to accumulate more when it falls below 2,000 in the short term. Long term, I definitely could see Ethereum being a $7,000 asset, but that's long term, and some people don't want to wait that long. Moving on, Litecoin's been kind of doing good in the past when Bitcoin and others have been going down. Litecoin's been doing pretty good. It's definitely a consistent earner when it comes to mining profitability. If you're not into mining, that's not a big deal for you. But when it comes to mining profitability, I wouldn't call it a huge earner, but it's a consistent earner. So if I said big earner, I misspoke. Moving on to XRP. XRP could fall below $2 if this continues downward, right? We had some golden crosses on Bitcoin, XRP, and a number of other digital assets, and obviously pushing the price down further. Not seeing anything that sticks out and tells me, hey, we're going to go up on XRP specifically, but I am preparing myself mentally that these assets are going to go down, and I'm going to try my best because I don't have money, right? I'm actually doing some other things to try to make money in preparation for Mine Disrupt. I can't make it to Bitcoin conference. Personal matters. We all have our problems, so we're all just trying to juggle things, and I'm in that position right now, but I appreciate every single one of y'all just coming and watching these videos, liking and subscribing. You don't have to send money, you don't have to do anything, but just liking and subscribing helps out greatly. It's free to do, including sharing the video. So if you see a video that you see a family member would like, please feel free to share it. Raven Coin, it's just a little choppy chop, but back down very low against Bitcoin. ADA, I can see this asset, I want it to be above $1. It did hit above $1 on Monday, but then fell right back down. This could be back down to a 60-cent, 50-cent asset. It's a lot of people are concerned. If you look at this downtrend, it's really bad. It's really bad. We should be climbing up, but I feel like they don't want us to go up yet, right? Whether it's people that want to get these ETFs going or people that want to accumulate more of the asset while it's low. Every time we push up, if it's retail traders trying to push up, I feel like something is pushing us down. But then it's we called it last week. It's market manipulation. Who's doing it? Why they're doing it? Is the question of the year, because there's nothing but positive news coming out, but yet we still don't see any price appreciation. Solana, again, I believe that will be below $100. Matter of fact, if we measure that from where we are right now to below $100, it would only be a 20%, 25% drop. I say only, but it's not out of the realm of impossible. Right, say for example, from the top of this wick right here to the bottom where we came, that's a 53% drop, right? But it could be like a new meme coin or something very exciting that comes out on Solana, could prop up the price, save it, stuff like that. But we'll see how things go. I could tell you that a lot of the tokens, whether it was Coochie Coin, Demo Cats, Jellyfish, or Cats of Crypto, much of the Solana in those ecosystems or the LPs, liquidity pools, have been eaten up because the market started to wither, started to retrace, pull back, and then of course people sell their meme coins or assets back into the original asset to try to save themselves as best as possible. Because when you have Solana or the main network token, when I say main network token, that's Ethereum, that's your Solana, that's your SU, that's your ADA. When you have the entire crypto market going down and the main token, network token going down, the assets on that network usually take a harder hit than the main net or the main asset. And so people try to jump back onto the main asset or into some stable coins. So we'll see how things go. U.S. regular clears the path for banks to engage in some crypto activities. Again, strategic reserve, the summits, all that stuff, all positive news. Banks who were hindered from being able to participate or hold, right, digital assets should be able to do so in the future. But my question to you is, you the viewer, would you, if Wells Fargo, if USAA, if whatever your favorite bank is or your banking institution right now is, can store your crypto assets, would you store your crypto assets with them? Let me know what your thoughts are, whether you're on X or on YouTube or Twitch, if banks could store your crypto assets. Obviously, they can't store all of them. There's so many crypto assets out there. A lot of it's crap. But if they could store a select certain, established amount of crypto assets, would you store your crypto with your bank? That is the question. I could throw that up in a poll, but we'll see here. Moving on, we got Red Panda mining in 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and before we move to this video that we're going to watch together, let's talk about the 5070 and its 9070 and 9070 XT. So 5070 launched, and unfortunately, I'm pretty sure there's supply. It's just nobody wants to buy it. Some people, I believe, bought it, right? Because it's supposed to be a sub 550 card, but you can see that quickly goes away, right? The Asus Prime is 549, but then we move up to 600. Some of the stock cards are still 550, somewhere in there, but then the Tough is 739, and at that price, it just doesn't make sense. But even the 5070 at the 550 plus tax, let's say basically right around 600, it still doesn't make much sense performance wise, right? It really does not. So, but either way, no supply. Whether it's legitimate people who bought the cards or just a bunch of bots or scalpers trying to resell them. Matter of fact, let's go to eBay real quick and look up the RTX 5070 and see what we can find. We're going to go buy it now, sort by lowest price first. Some of these might be read description, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so 789, 779. So this is the WindForce OC. So let's look for the WindForce OC. WindForce OC. That's a $550 card. Now, this person is selling it for $789, $799. I want you to know something. eBay charges a huge tax, right? So even if they sold this card, let's say $799 times, let's say 10% tax and shipping or whatever, and I could be wrong about that, right? So $799.99. So that's $879 now that you're paying for the card. And then we times that by 13%. That's 114. All right. So 114.39, 879. 879 minus 1. Let's just do 113. So they're making $766 on a card that cost them $600. So they're making about $166. I don't think that's a worthy flip. You know what I mean? I don't think that's worth the scalper's time. But yet here we are. That's why most of them are selling them at even higher prices. And if you're paying over $650 for this card, you're doing it wrong. All right, I do not agree with that whatsoever. The 5070 Ti is worse. The 5080 is worse, and the 5090 is even worse. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Nvidia once again launching a card with not enough supply. Now, on the other hand, the 9070 and 9070 XT had a little bit more supply, but I do believe that they are just pretty much gone as well. Let's go ahead and take a look. I was able to secure one, so stay tuned for content, mining profitability, maybe some testing profitability, not testing profitability, but testing of the unit, gaming performance, benchmark, stuff like that. Yes, my colleagues probably got their GPU already from Micro Center because I don't have a Micro Center near me. Thanks, Micro Center. And they'll do their content. But as always, I will always do my own content, regardless if others have done it before, with my own flair, my own strategy, my own way of doing things. If you like that kind of stuff, please make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. But you can see not a lot of 9070s. They were actually they were in stock for quite a bit. They didn't sell out as fast as some of the other cards. 669, 639 for the 9070. $800 for the 9070 XT from Asus. I don't know why Asus charging so much, but yeah, the 9070 XT, I like the 9070. I like the 9070. I like the 9070 XT. I don't like the prices of some of these AIB models, but I do like them. I think the 9070, as Gamers Nexus says, is incredibly efficient. That could work out to an advantage for crypto miners. Will it be? We don't know. Let's wait till we get some actual data for you, which I hope to provide to you as soon as possible. before mining disrupt. And then the 9070 XT makes sense to a certain point, right? To a certain point. It can trade blows with the 5070 Ti depending on the title. But if you're paying over $800+ for this shit, then no, it doesn't make any sense. Do not do it. But yeah, 729 for this ASRock model. I wouldn't pay that. I wouldn't pay that. This 669 one right here from ASRock, that's not bad. You still after taxes and shipping, even if it is free shipping, you're looking at 720, 740. That's still up there, right? But that's better than $800 or 780 or 750, right? So, meh. I believe the MSRP of these cards were, well, they varied. 749. I think they were supposed to be 650, 600, right? I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But yes, 6 something. This is not a bad deal. 894 for what type of power supply? 1,000-watt power supply from ASRock. And then the 729 for Hitachi Radeon. If anybody got that bundle, that's actually not a bad bundle. I don't know how good that power supply is. Probably be nice to have some of the Linus team engineers or Gamers Nexus test it out, but I can't speak to that power supply. But I'm very interested in this card and how it performs. I think the 9070 probably would have been. Do you think the 9070? Here's another question for you guys. Comment down below or on X. Make sure you at me on X. Do you think the 9070 is the better buy than the 9070 XT? Because I got the 9070 XT, but do you think the 9070 was the better buy due to efficiency? Now, the AMD cards will drink up some juice just to meet or match the performance of its competitor. So Nvidia is more efficient, and Nvidia is still king of ray tracing, but AMD did close the gap. So I'm very intrigued and I'm very interested in considering all the issues that Nvidia has been having with the 12 volt high power connector, with the missing ROPs, with this and that, the lack of supply. The 5070 just didn't make sense. The 5070 Ti just doesn't make sense. 5080 starts to make sense. 5090 makes sense, but the prices and the scalping prices is just astronomical. 5090 right now, if we were able to get one, this was coming from the UK, right? So I doubt that's a 5080, by the way, not a 5090. This is coming from Saudi Arabia. It says free delivery, but look at this. This user has 00. You gotta be careful of that, guys. There's a lot of scammers out here. They'll take your money and they'll disappear. We got one of our Canadian brothers out there or sisters selling one for $3,600. But is that Canadian or is that US dollars? That's Canadian. All right, so yeah, 5,200 Canadian or 3,600 USD. That's better than the launch day prices, but still, guys, I would not buy this shit. Do not buy this shit. So stay tuned for updates on the 9070 XT. I'll bring that data to you as soon as possible. We got Red Panda Mining coming up here shortly. But hang tight for me. I'll redirect you, to the show. Don't forget, we're going to listen to this crypto world from CNBC as we lead into Red Panda's live stream. But I wanted to remind you, again, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching us wherever you are. Consider hanging out. Consider coming back. Consider following, subscribing wherever you are. Don't forget, if you're going to Mine Disrupt coming up in a couple weeks in Fort Lauderdale, got tickets for you. Link down in the description. We got tickets for Bitcoin conference, right? One of the biggest Bitcoin conferences in the United States. Last year was in Nashville, where DJT came, President Trump. Really crazy, really fun time, really great atmosphere. Check out tickets. Use coupon code SerpentX wherever you go to try to save. And then we got both the White House official acknowledgement of the strategic reserve as well as the fact sheet down in the description. Look for a section that says news articles. But all right, let's listen in. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, make sure to at me in the chat. Okay, I can only see your message if you at me, or I can see everybody's message, but I don't think anybody's talking to me right now. So we're just gonna listen to this as we lead into Red Panda Mining. Which, matter of fact, let's go ahead and get him pulled up. And I appreciate every single one of you. If you guys leave because I'm playing another news agency's video, I understand. But you know, I appreciate you guys wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much. And yeah, this video and live stream is brought to you by Mine Disrupts. Ad will play after we end the stream.
Today, crypto markets slide as investors gauge the likelihood of future Bitcoin acquisitions to a U.S. strategic reserve. And Noel Atchison breaks down what Trump's crypto strategy means for markets. Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Tanea McKeel. Crypto markets turning lower as we head into the weekend after President Trump ordered the creation of a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve and separately a digital asset stockpile. As of noon Eastern, Bitcoin slipped to the $87,000 level. Ether fell 2.8% to $21.58, and Solana fell nearly 2%. Crypto-focused stocks also heading lower alongside a pullback in broader markets. That's thanks to one key theme: uncertainty. The latest jobs data missed expectations and gave yet another sign that the U.S. economy might be slowing.
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty. Let's go to CoinMarketCap and check out the fear and greed. Yeah, it's still in the 20s. A lot of uncertainty. And positive news all over the damn place, but a lot of uncertainty.
Tariffs on Mexican and Canadian goods are on pause again.
Tariffs
Fed Chair Jerome
causing
Powell says
concerns.
the central bank is waiting for greater clarity on Trump policy before it makes its next move on rates.
There you go.
If we look at weekly performance for cryptocurrencies, you'll see mostly red.
Oh, I hear him. This is a good song to start to. That's a good song to start to, Panda. All right, that's a way to get the party started. Good song. Let's start to. I've been trying to get a hold of Red Panda Mining. If you guys ping him in the live chat, tell him to check his damn Discord. Please check Discord or email. Then enjoy. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to send you guys over to Red Panda Mining. Thanks so much for stopping by, hanging out with us. Hang in there. As always, just hang in there. It will be okay. It will be okay. All right. It will be just fine. We're still up on our original position. Many of you have been with me for quite some time, that I see in the live chat at least. We're still in a bull market. This is a retracement. This is a healthy retracement. Kind of looks like a Bart Simpson if you move over. It kind of looks like a Bart Simpson, doesn't it? Right? Well, we come all the way down to here, right? You can see that green line, and then start moving up. I mean, that would be pretty healthy, right? That's a nice retest of a legacy previous high, and then start marching up, right? We'll never come back down to those levels. I believe we closed all the CME gaps, but don't quote me on that. KW usually has those pretty much covered. But just hang in there. Enjoy life. Be careful. Dollar cost average. If you can accumulate. If you can't, take care of your bills. Take care of your fam. I appreciate every single one of y'all. So do me a favor on the way out. Hit that like button. Get subscribed. Hit the notification bell to stay up to date. As well as check out additional links in the description to help support the channel and what we do here. And you just have yourself a wonderful day. Take care. I'll catch you in the next one.
You definitely got to come to Mining Disrupt, the largest mining-focused conference. It's pretty dang awesome.
It's a great opportunity for the people.
Let's go out and make some money with it.
Get engaged, defend the industry,